This meeting of the Oak Park City Council is called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening. We have our City Clerk, Ed Norris, call the roll, please.
Mayor McClellan. Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Here.
Councilmember Seligson.
Here.
Councilmember Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Speech.
Here.
Okay, and Mayor McClellan is visiting family out west. We will continue with quorum here. First item of business is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as it stands?
So moved. Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. The first part of our agenda is a consent agenda, and these are routine items that are presented to the City Council for approval without discussion. For any single agenda item, if any council member wishes to discuss or disapprove of any item, it must be dropped from the consent agenda otherwise it's included in a blanket motion of approval and considered, it would be considered as a separate item if any of the items are pulled from the agenda. Are there any items that are requested to be pulled from the consent agenda? Okay, I'll read through them. First item is the regular council meeting minutes of June 15th, the Emergency Services Council meeting minutes of May 11th, request to advertise for bids for the 2015 block pruning project M636, a request to authorize Public Works Department to participate in pre-bid contracts for the purchase of 5 budgeted public works vehicles, a request approval of proposed change order number 2 for Manatoli Cement Company, LLC, for the 2015 miscellaneous concrete repair project M603 in the amount of a reduction to the city of cost of $17,352.14, and along with that, payment application number 2 to the same, the total amount of $192,572.88. We have a request approval for payments for invoices from Orchard Hills in the Clement for our water reservoir and pumping station improvements and traffic signal design in the total amount of $16,529.50, and licenses, business licenses, new and renewals as submitted for July 6th, 2015. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We move on. I don't know if there are any, I don't see any visiting elected officials in the audience tonight. We do have a special recognition. I'd like to call upon Director Cooper. Okay, and our Major McNeilans are going to make some presentations here in recognition of public safety.
Good evening. First, I'd like to offer a sincere thank you to our city manager, our mayor pro tem and council for allowing me this opportunity and this forum to acknowledge several members of our public safety department for some outstanding work and significant achievements. As I understand that this council has a full agenda, and a pause while we recognize members of our staff means a great deal to me. And this past fall, I stood before this council and presented some of our members with similar awards, and at that time I made mention that previously such awards had been given out during roll calls, training sessions, or simply placed in mailboxes. And in my opinion, that did not honor our public safety officers in the most appropriate manner. So again, I thank you and will be ever mindful of your time here this evening. After all of the awards have been handed out, I would ask that the officers remain standing up front. The first departmental award that I'd like to present is a merit unit citation. Like I said, as I call the officers forward, I'd ask them to come and stand front and center and face the audience. And in the interest of time, I would award them their actual award at this point, and I'd ask that all of our honorees contact our Deputy Director to receive their ribbon or star after the ceremony. And the first award is a unit/a merit citation. And with the following officers, please come forward and stand front and center, please. Sergeant James Vernier, Officer Matthew Tyson, Officer John Stanson, Dispatcher Marianne Dahmer, Officer Jesse Fullerton, Officer Anthony Kerrigan, and Officer Paul Desowitz. This incident that I'm about to read here is reference an apartment fire, and it reads as follows. It says, on Thursday, February the 26th, 2015, at 1:59 a.m., Oak Park Department of Public Safety responded to 25201 East Riverside on a report of an apartment fire. Flames were visible inside the lower southeast apartment when officers arrived on the scene. Multiple residents were observed trapped on second-story balconies, and officers were met with cries from frightened residents in immediate need of assistance. Dispatcher Dahmer immediately began to recall off-duty personnel and requested mutual aid assistance from several of the surrounding communities. Officers on scene immediately initiated rescue operations. Without delay, Officer Kerrigan placed a ladder on the northeast balcony and was able to assist an elderly female to safety. Officers Tyson and Fullerton responded to the west side of the apartment building and assisted a resident from the northwest balcony with the use of an extension ladder. Conditions continued to rapidly deteriorate, with the fire extending to the upper southeast apartment, trapping 3 residents, a father and his 2 daughters on a balcony directly above the seat of the fire. Sergeant Vernier determined that there was no time to safely place a ladder to assist with their rescue, so he instructed the father to lower his daughters over the railing. Sergeant Vernier and Officer Kerrigan safely secured both of the young girls from their father. The father then had to jump from the balcony to safety. Officers Kerrigan and Stanson, along with mutual aid assistance from Berkeley Public Safety, were able to establish a water supply to further assist with firefighting operations. Officer Tyson and Fullerton entered the apartment complex to complete search and rescue operations as Officer Desowitz formed a rapid intervention team and assisted with fire suppression. Officers located an elderly resident that was lying on the floor and unresponsive in a second-story apartment. The victim was rescued from the apartment, and her care was transferred to paramedics from Alliance Ambulance. The victim was eventually transported to Beaumont Hospital. All of the aforementioned officers continued to work tirelessly in sub-zero conditions for over 5 hours until the fire was suppressed. Several lives were saved due to the quick and coordinated actions of these involved. You are commended for the excellent manner in which you performed your duties in this incident, and is signed by myself, the Director of Public Safety, Steve Cooper. The Deputy Director and I are going to step forward right in the center and hand these out and get a photo opportunity as we hand those out. And if council would not mind standing in front of your chairs along with the city manager while we do this, that'd be great. the officers would continue to stand. The next award I'd like to present is called a longevity award. The public safety profession is one of the most honorable and rewarding professions of all, but also is one of the most stressful and dangerous as well. At times, you're forced to deal with the worst society has to offer without warning or reprieve. The demands placed on our officers and dispatchers who serve in this profession is like none other. The men and women that you see standing here today serve the citizens of this great community daily with honor and integrity. For every 5 years of service that our officers and dispatchers give, we mark and recognize the occasion with the department's Longevity Award. It's been quite a while since some of our members have been presented this award, so this evening, I believe we may have a couple of members who will be recognized for 2 longevity awards. And I would ask that we hold all applause until I've recognized each person here today receiving this award. And again, the same format. If once you come up, stand front and center, and then those of you who have not had an opportunity to have a photograph taken will do so at that time. First longevity award is for Lieutenant Troy Taylor, and this is his 15-year longevity award, May 17, 1999, until May 17, 2014. Lieutenant Frank Sloan, this is Lieutenant Sloan's 15-year longevity award as well, May 21st, 1999, and May 21st, 2014. Sergeant James Vernier, his 15-year longevity award, March 3rd, 1998, March 3rd, 2013. Detective Brian Barker, 10-year longevity award, November 4th, 2004, November 4th, 2014. Detective Dave Cardinelli, 10-year longevity award, December 14, 2004, December 14, 2014. Officer Rob Wickham, 15-year longevity award, December 16, 1999, December 16, 2014. Officer Matthew Tyson, 10-year longevity award, July 1, 2002, July 1, 2012. Officer John Stanson, 10-year longevity award, November 18, 2004, November 18, 2014. Officer Jesse Fullerton, 10-year longevity award, July 14, 2004, July 14, 2014. Officer Adam Hughes, 10-year longevity award, June 5, 2002, June 5, 2012. For Dispatcher Mary Ann Dahmer, I have her 10-year longevity award, November 26, 1999, November 26, 2009, and also I have a 15-year longevity award for Dispatcher Dahmer from November 26, 1999, November 26, 2014. And that concludes our longevity awards. I believe our photographer, you already got the photos?
And, oh, I think that was, Mayor Pro Tem and Council Dog, you can go ahead and have a seat now. But I would be remiss if I also didn't acknowledge Director Cooper. We do this every 5 years is how it normally works. Director Cooper's 25th anniversary is this upcoming Thursday. So he fell a little bit short, but he's way too modest to acknowledge himself and all the efforts that he's done here. So I just wanted to acknowledge him and thank him for his leadership here in the department. It'll be 25 years this coming Thursday that he served this wonderful city.
Thank you. And our final award this evening is our Safe Driving Award. This award is presented every 5 years as well, and this award is presented to each officer who has not been involved in an at-fault accident while on duty for 5 consecutive years. Some might pause and wonder what the big deal is regarding this award. But in 2004, 38 officers across this country were killed as a result of motor vehicle crashes. And this was only second to officers killed as a result of gunfire, and that number was 48. Driving is one of the key functions of a public safety officer. Not only do our officers drive patrol vehicles, they also are responsible for navigating fire trucks, which measure up to 35 feet in length. We respond to approximately 15,000 calls for service per year. The citizens of this community whom we serve depend heavily on the services that are provided by our public safety department. And our first priority is to always arrive safely on scene in order to deliver this service. As I call the names for our recipients for the safe drive, and again, I'd ask that we just hold all applause to the end. And then at that time, like I said, I'm going to turn it over in a couple minutes here to our city manager. So for our first Safe Driving Award, this is for Sergeant James Vernier, 2006 through 2011. The second Safe Driving Award, I have actually two for Officer Rob Wickham. And the Safe Driving Award from 2004 through 2009 is the first one. And the second one is from 2009 to 2014. This one here is for Officer Steve Arbanowski, and this is the Safe Driving Award from 2006 through 2011. Officer Matthew Tyson, Safe Driving Award from 2009 to 2014. Officer Dave Cardinelli, Safe Driving Award 2006 through 2011. Officer Anthony Kerrigan, Safe Driving Award 2006 through 2011. Adam Hughes, Safe Driving Award 2008 through 2013. Officer John Stanson, I have two Safe Driving Awards, 2004 through 2009. And the second one is from 2009 through 2014. I apologize. A couple of our officers unfortunately had to step out duty calls 24/7. So before I turn it over to our esteemed city manager, I just want to congratulate each member of the Public Safety Department. I want to thank them for their loyal and dedicated service to this great community. And I want them to know that their efforts and the hard work that they put in and day out does not go unappreciated, especially for my office. I'm one of the first ones to say that you don't talk to your colleagues and tell them how much you appreciate them on a daily basis, and hopefully they don't take that for granted. But the men and women that you see standing here today, like I said, I love each and every one of them. Couldn't imagine doing the job without them. And they make, like I said, my job and the deputy director's job that much easier. And again, like I said, I couldn't be prouder of you and the job that you do on a day in and day out basis. So God bless you. I love you all.
Stay right there. Okay. So, city council members are going to come and shake each and every one of your hands, and I want to, while they're doing that, say a couple things. I have 191 employees that work for me. These are some of the best and brightest in our entire city government. When I came here to be the city manager in 2012, little did I know I was inheriting a standard of excellence and awesomeness that you see right in front of you today. Our department is not only the best I've ever worked with in my entire career, they are a department that focused on best practices. You can see that we have the best leadership. Deputy Director Pinkerton, who doesn't say much, come on up here. Look at this guy.
Ask them, they might have something different to say.
And our director, Steve Cooper, thank you for your 25 years. He has promised me that he will stay on, at least for right now. For 25 more, there you go. But in all seriousness, these are the men and women who put their life at risk for all of us. And so I'm not going to go into some big speech, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know that I speak on behalf of my bosses sitting behind you when I say thank you so much for everything that you do for us. Thank you.
Just to repeat, we thank you all for everything you do and all the coordination and all the teamwork, all the bravery that goes into your work. It's so much appreciated. And congratulations to the director, the lieutenants, sergeant, detectives, the officers, and the dispatchers for your years of service. We appreciate your dedicated service to Oak Park. Thank you. At this point, we have another special presentation, calling on the city manager to be able to make this presentation to a very special individual.
Tonight is the night of presentations, and there is no better city employee than Steve Lukashik, who is sitting in the back. Steve, if you'd come on up to the front, please, so we can all get a look at you, study you. I've chosen Steve to be my recipient of the June Employee of the Month. And here's why. Steve helped us through a very difficult Royal Oak Township water underbillings program. And so let me be really quick about this. We inherited, during the annexations, the two of them that took place, a whole bunch of different properties in Royal Oak Township that had not paid their due water bills. And this has been outstanding now for years and years and years. Guess what? We have finally resolved it, thanks in large part to this gentleman right here. Steve is focused on customer service. He's has the utmost focus on being friendly to internal and external stakeholders. And I have to say that in 2012, when I made the decision to keep our water department local, it was one of the best decisions that I made because of people like Steve. So Steve, congratulations. City Council, if you would come on up for a photo with Steve. Thank you.
Okay, not having a public hearing tonight or any special licenses or communications, we move to item 11, which is accounting reports. And item 11A is the approval of payment of an invoice as submitted by Seacrest, Wardell, Lynch, Hampton, Truex, and Morley for legal services in the amount of $4,643.98. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a
Support.
second? Okay, this is a voice vote. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine,
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Okay, we're at item 12. Item 12 is the request to approve a proposal from PSI Incorporated for material testing services for the 2015 construction projects M606, M608, and M609, the total amount of $20,910. It's recommended that the proposal from PSI for their professional services for material testing be approved. And could we get a brief explanation about these projects? Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to ask our Director of Technical and Planning Services to join us.
Good evening, City Manager, Mayor, and Council. Attached to the bid tab for proposals for the material testing services for the 2015 construction projects. It's combined for 3 projects, M606, 608, and 609. The low proposal submitted by PSI is for the total amount of $20,910. It is recommended that the proposal from PSI for professional services for material testing services for the 2015 construction projects be approved in the total amount of $20,910. Funding is available in the road bond fund and in the water sewer fund.
Do I have a motion to approve this payment?
Approved?
And a second? Then?
So, a second.
Any questions? Okay. Roll call vote.
Mayor Pro
Thank
Tem
you, Director
Levine,
Clark. Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. The next item of business is the second reading of an ordinance to amend Chapter 6, liquors, Article 1, alcoholic liquors, in general, Article 2, minors at open house parties, Article 3, regulation of on-the-premises consumption of the code and ordinances of the city of Oak Park. And I think we need possibly some, just a little bit of a overview of the comments that are in here as far as some of the safeguards that are in this ordinance. Let's first let's first get a motion on the floor. Is there a motion to approve?
Approved?
Okay.
Second.
And questions? I have a couple. That's why I start out with more clarifications to people. One of the things that's going to happen in this, as a result of this ordinance, is the approval process for someone having a license for an event that serves alcohol is going to go through public safety, and I think it's going to make it a simpler process. It's always been a very cumbersome process for nonprofits to be able to get a special event license. And I just wanted to find out, what is the change in procedure that's going to accompany this?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Actually, at this point, this is a second reading of the ordinance that is only incorporating the recent amendments that were voted on in August by the electorate. These amendments simply revise the ordinance, which previously only spoke to tavern license agreements. Based on the vote, we are now eligible for Class C liquor licenses, so those changes are only to the language in the ordinance. I believe there will be, well, not I believe, I know there will be a study session in August with all council members to discuss the application and permit process, and at this point, there has been no changes to that.
Okay, so the marginal comments are relating to things we're going to bring up in August.
That's correct, and
Thank
we
you for
will
that
have a
clarification.
public study session regarding those proposed changes.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. With that, we have a motion on the floor. Could we have a roll, this will be a roll call vote because it's an ordinance. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. The next is a second reading again. This is an adoption of an ordinance to amend Article 2 definitions, Article 7B1 Neighborhood Business Districts, Article 7 PCD Planned Corridor Development Districts, Article 17 General Provisions, and Article 19 Special Land Uses, Appendix A Zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park. Once again, this is, just bringing the zoning language up to meet the needs of the Class C licenses. Do I have a motion to approve
So moved.
and a second?
Support.
Roll call vote?
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Do we have a report from the city attorney at this point?
I have no report this evening, thank you.
Okay. City manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. I would be remiss if I went any farther to 15A before, and I know the communications department loves it when I hold things up here, but I wanted to let everyone know that our city attorney has been named one of the top 6 attorneys in Metro Detroit. And yeah, congratulations. So if you get a chance to get a copy of D Business Magazine, make sure that you do so. So thank you for all you do, Ebony. I wanted to give an update on the water underbillings. As I mentioned a moment ago, the Crown Point bill and the Providence Green bill were still outstanding as of mid last week. Both of those entities have now made final payments and have fully resolved the underbillings that were associated with the annexations in the Royal Oak Township properties. And so again, I want to thank Steve Lukashik. I don't see him here now, and I want to thank our city attorney for bringing that to closure. This sounds like a very mundane thing, but it's been a point of contention for me for about 3 years now. So we have finally brought that to conclusion, and I wanted to make sure the city council was aware of that. 15B is a request to extend our audit contract for another 3 years. Council members, this would be an extension to the 3 years that we've already approved for Riemann Robson. I know council policy allows reconsideration at 3 years. I wanted to bring this to your attention. I don't think there's any reason why we could do fewer than 3 years, but I at least wanted to bring the full gamut to you for your consideration.
Okay. Do we have a motion on the floor to approve an extension of our contract with Raymond Robinson for 3 years? Current contract, from the current contract expiration through June of 2017.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Any discussion?
I just have a question. So when did we start this? I have 2 questions. When did we start this contract with them? And then is this outside of the audit that I know that Gail Credit and her firm,
Plant Moran.
Yeah, Plant Moran, that they do already?
Councilmember, yes. Actually, this is the city's audit. This is the city's official auditor.
Okay.
And this began in fiscal year 2013.
Okay.
We had, before that, we had I would call a boutique CPA firm that was based out of the west side of the metro area. And I think they had been here for as many as 6 or 7 years prior to the change.
So this is our official auditor, and then the Plant Moran financial piece and any audits they do are in addition to?
Well, Plant Moran serves as in our finance department on an operational basis. In addition, council has also allowed them to complete this water rate study, which is completely separate from all of the audit materials we're talking about.
Okay.
Councilman Sullivan?
I have no problem with extending the contract this time, but in the past, we used 3 years, and the reason 3 years, because you know, sometimes your auditor, you just want to make sure you don't get too cozy with your auditor. And that's why about 10 years ago, we were steadfast that we're not using anyone more than 3 years. Now, I have no problem in this particular case, and in previous life, Reuben Robinson, this is not the first time they've had a city contract. But I do suggest that we do not go beyond this date, and I won't be here, so you guys will have to remember this yourselves, that you don't want to get too cozy. And once you start having this long-term relationship, they start not looking, you want to get new eyes looking at the same numbers, because sometimes different people look at the same thing and come up with different decisions. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Councilmember Seligson, those are all prudent points. I absolutely agree. I would say this, that the first year that I was the city manager, when we made this big transition, and I don't have to remind, especially some of the long-standing council members, of the difficulties that we faced. I would say that Reuben Robinson is just starting to get their momentum. So I think at the very least, a couple of years consideration would be prudent.
And I have no problem with it. I'm just, you know, again, as a policy, we should not leave that basic premise that you don't want to get too close.
Right.
So their contract is right now to 16, so are we saying we're going to extend it to 19?
Councilmember Speech, you're saying that you would extend it out to the fiscal year 2017, and then the option to extend is there if you would like to do it beyond that. But Councilmember Selickson's point is that it would be limited to the 2017 audit.
Okay.
And I would concur with Councilman Seligson that it is a good business practice to change auditors on a somewhat regular basis. New auditors coming in want to, especially first year, they want to impress you with how thorough a job they do and keep the business. And often they do catch things that auditors that have been in position for a time may overlook. On the other hand, I do understand what the city manager is saying about Reuben Robinson. They've been doing a very good job. Reuben Robinson has been I guess getting up to speed, as you say. So I would agree with the prudence of not extending after 3 years and looking for a competitive bid process for our auditors.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. We need a roll call vote for this.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes?
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Motion passes. We're up to item 15C. 15C is a request to set a public hearing for July 20th, 2015 to establish an obsolete property rehabilitation district for parcels 52-25-19-3326-017 and 52-25-19-301-012, otherwise known as Providence Green Apartments. This incentive, if granted, would essentially freeze the local property taxes for a period of up to 12 years, exempting this property from local property tax on all real property improvements. Establishing this district will allow Oak Park to target these parcels as areas for redevelopment. City Council is recommended to pass a resolution to set a public hearing for July 20th at the next regularly scheduled City Council meeting to establish the obsolete property rehabilitation district for these parcels. Do we have a motion on the floor?
I make a motion to accept.
Support.
Okay, and could we have City Manager Tungate just give a brief summary? We went over this in the meeting just prior to this one, and I'd like to share with you what this action means and really sets the groundwork for.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. This, as we discussed in the work session prior to, we have an opportunity with a private transaction. Obviously, the city doesn't own the property. A developer would purchase the property, and there's a developer in hand, and they would invest a substantial amount of money in the property. And as we all know, I think there are, in an economic development process, always the request for incentives. The developer has made this request because they believe that this additional incentive would help them debt service the project and actually make it happen. I believe, Kim, if you want to elaborate a little bit, there's about $7.1 million worth of new investment in this property. Is there anything else you want to
Yeah,
add?
they are proposing the project to invest $7.1 million into the two parcels that were indicated that encompass Providence Green, and the total project would take approximately 36 months. They would plan to possibly close in less than 30 days at this point and begin the project immediately with sprucing up the exterior of the buildings and the landscaping fronting Greenfield and working their way back.
So, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, this is a request to set a public hearing to consider an obsolete property district, and this is a statutory requirement. Properties within this district can apply for this abatement. And I think it's very important to note, as you said, that the abatement only occurs on new investment. So it's basically frozen. Anything new on it will be set. So that's the overview of the project. Anything else, Kim?
No, just
Okay.
asking you to set the public hearing.
Sure.
Okay, we'll need a roll call vote on this.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine,
Yes?
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. I invite residents to come to our next city council meeting if you have any questions or concerns for the public hearing. At this point, we move to item 19B, which is, excuse me. 15. Hold on. 15D. This is a request to enter into the contract with Global Realty to acquire tax foreclosed properties in the city of Oak Park and to allow the city manager to sign on behalf of the city. And I'm glad that Director Murray is up here. We can talk about, give an explanation of this as well.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Since the last meeting, we have been working with our city attorneys to develop a contract that we think would be in the best interest of the city of Oak Park in order to acquire these tax foreclosed properties and get them back into the hands of owner occupants. You have a copy of the contract in front of you in your packets. I'm just going to highlight a few of those items. It's a standard real estate purchase agreement. Item 2 is the purchase price. Wanted to point out it is blank at this time. That will be determined once we get a list of all the foreclosed properties and what those values are that are owed in the taxes. Item 4, we will be collecting earnest money in the amount of $100,000. We are providing them in item 3, a quitclaim deed, not a warranty deed. Item 6, 2 items, they will be doing a simultaneous closing, which means we will acquire the properties and simultaneously close on the properties with Global Realty. And the purchaser will handle any evictions that need to take place on these properties, so the city doesn't get involved in that in any way, shape, or form. Item 12, the buyer is required to pay all 2015 summer taxes, including any special assessments and related charges. Item 15, the maintenance of the property. The buyer is required within 7 days of closing on the property to secure the property and begin maintenance of the property. And item 38, under miscellaneous, we are asking them to commit to 95% of the homes going back to owner occupants and that they remedy and city certify all homes within 1 year. The contract in front of you does state 6 months. However, because of the possible problem with the evictions and the timeline it takes to evict people from homes, we are asking that we extend that to 1 year instead of 6 months. This company in the past, when it comes to evictions, in many instances has worked with the people who are in the homes to maybe do a land contract or work with them. They're not harsh in kicking them out if not need be. So I just wanted to give you the assurance there. We do have Jim Budziak from Global Realty if you have any other questions, and I think City Attorney Ebony Duff would like to weigh in as well.
Thank you, Director.
Good evening. I just wanted to address, I know there were some concerns or questions about the due diligence behind the agreement, so I just wanted to let you, let you know that we did, our office consulted with a few other city attorneys for the city of Harper Woods, and I also believe it was the city of East Point who have also worked with this company. They all gave stellar recommendations, as from the city attorney and the city managers with working with the company Also, I noted that it had been discussed that this was a one-year contract, and I just want to be clear that this is a contract solely for the purchase of the tax foreclosed properties for 2015 only. So this will be the list that we received from the county. We are proposing to sell those properties to this entity, and then next year, we can make the decision to work with them again. You can have the freedom to work with another company, but I just wanted to be clear that you are not locked in beyond this purchase for 2015.
Thank you, Attorney Duff. I'd just like to also, the city manager could just explain how we arrived at this company and.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. This was a bid process. We did receive 3 bids. This was one of the 3. As you know, that at the last council meeting, council authorized me to begin negotiations with this firm. I did so through the attorney and our economic development manager, Kim Maroney. I don't know of a more stringent contract that you could possibly put in front of you here. Some of the details, 95% owner-occupant sales. Doesn't get any better than that. And my directive to staff was that I didn't want to be out of pocket anything, including providing a warranty deed. So we did bake into the contract quitclaim deed. I feel comfortable with it. As the city attorney mentioned, it's a 1-year contract for only the foreclosed properties on the list. We don't know how many of those there will be yet, but we will very soon. I think this is a fair contract, more than fair on the city's behalf.
The recommended action is to approve that the city of Oak Park enter into contract with Global Realty and allow our city manager, Tungate, to sign on behalf of the city. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a support?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments? Councilwoman speech?
Yes, I know that when we first talked to them, their presentation, one of the things I really thought should be included was, making sure that Oak Park residents had an opportunity for these homes. So glancing over this, is that in here, or how did we include that?
I don't believe that's in here, but that is something that we've
Or
stressed.
marketing, I know they're a business, but is there any type of indication that they, we're going to keep that in mind?
I know the company has made overtures that they would market first and foremost to Oak Park residents. It's something that we stress in negotiations. I don't believe it's in the contract.
I know it can't
I don't
be,
believe
but-
it's
I don't think
legal to
legally
put
you
it into the contract.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's.
I don't know how legal it
I
is
don't know
either,
that,
but
too. I
as
don't know
far
that.
as expressed interest and,
I wouldn't go that far. But
have they expressed that?
yes,
they
and that's
understand our
something that we've
desire?
made very prevalent in our discussions with them.
Okay.
So I would hope that they would, keep that promise.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, let's have a roll call vote on this, please.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, I just wanted to mention one more thing before I finish the city manager report for the evening. I have asked staff to come in at the next council meeting and provide an overview of the July 4th parade and activities. I participated this year along with all of our elected officials here, and I have to say, once again, we have the best residents and the best community, and thanks to all the city employees and volunteers for the amazing job in manicuring our parks and making everything look wonderful. Thank you very much.
And that concludes the city manager's portion of the agenda. Before we go any further, we do have items for closed session. We need to have a motion to go to closed session at the conclusion of this meeting. Prior to that, we'll have a chance for called audience comments and council comments. We will go to closed session. You're welcome to wait around while we're in the other room, and we will come out and announce what we did, but it might be some time. So with that, do we have a motion to go to closed session?
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Wow. Okay, I don't think that we need a voice vote on that.
We need a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, okay.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Okay. With that, we open up the call to the audience, and each speaker's remarks are a matter of public record. The speaker alone is responsible for his or her comments, and the City of Oak Park does not, by permitting such remarks, support, endorse, or accept the content thereof as being true or accurate. Any person while being heard at a city council meeting may be called to order by the chair or by the city council members for failure to have business that's germane to the city, vulgarity, or personal attacks on persons or institutions. There's a 3-minute time limit per speaker for your remarks. And please come up, identify who you are and where you live. Thank you. Anyone have a comment for call to go? Please come on. Thank you. Please feel free.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Weiss, 24101 Norwood, and I wanted to echo a lot of what City Manager Tungate said. The 4th of July, actually 3rd of July, was wonderful. It was great to see so many people there, and the city staff were phenomenal. Everything was really beautiful. The one thing I'd like to suggest in planning for next year is, the only thing that came up was, if there aren't enough items for all the children along the parade route to get whatever's being handed out, then we probably shouldn't hand out anything at all, because there were some disappointed children, unhappy people. So I'm just hoping for next year that'll be put in place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy Figgett, 20831 Ridgedale, and I just wanted to reiterate what Cheryl Weiss just said, just because there were a lot of disappointed children, and it's something that's kind of hard to deal with when you're on that end. So I just want to say, and I did want to let the parade planners know that they did a really, really great job. So thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Hi, my name is Ebony James. I live at 24051 Rensselaer, and I wanted to know what would be the protocol to get a children at play sign put on the street, as well as a yield or a stop sign put on Constance intersects our street, and there's no sign for a yield or stop. And there are at least 20 children on our street, and people are doing 50 to get to the townhomes. So I was just wondering what needs to be done to get a children at play sign and a yield or preferably a stop sign put there.
Thank you for your comments. Can I ask that you talk to the Assistant City Manager right behind you after the meeting? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Next.
Good evening. My name is Dawn Corcoran. I'm at 14530 Pearson. Excuse me. And I had a concern in regard to there are two barriers or cones that has been sitting in front of the address of, I believe it's 14260, and they've been there now for 5 years. So as long as I've been here, I'm really concerned that, is it something that's been missed, or maybe no one has come by? Thank you.
If you could talk to the Assistant City Manager behind you there too.
It's your night, Kevin.
Jack of all trades there.
Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Alan Figgett, 20831 Ridgedale, Oak Park, corner of Ridgedale and Pasadena. I would like to call to your attention the fact that traffic at Coolidge and 8 Mile Road backs up quite frequently past Pasadena, which is the first block north of 8 Mile Road. People, in an attempt to beat the signal, come whizzing around the corner, make a quick left turn onto Ridgedale, and head down to 8 Mile Road lickety-split. I would like to suggest that some sort of a traffic study be done, and perhaps something be done to remedy this situation, such as a no right turn for through traffic off of Coolidge onto Pasadena at certain hours of the day.
Worthy study, please. This again, we're referring that to our Assistant City Manager.
Is your Assistant City Manager working overtime today?
He will be.
He's always working overtime.
I don't know if he's going to go longer than our closed session, but please, everyone, stay after the meeting, and I'll be glad to help work with you on these things.
Okay. I also would ask our Director of Public Safety if you could.
He just left.
He gets, he gets 25 years and look it. But if you could meet Kevin, if you guys would talk to him jointly,
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other residents with concerns, questions? Call to the audience is hereby closed. We call the council. Let's begin with council member speech, and we'll go right down the line. Before closed session, sure.
Well, I just wanted to thank everyone that came out for the Independence Day Parade. It was an awesome time. Certainly, regret that there were some disappointed children, but we had a lovely time during the parade and after the parade and all the events. So appreciate everyone coming out and all of the hard work that went into it. And I also just want to remind everyone, as I usually do, about the summer months and remembering to keep your porch lights on for safety and security. Lock your doors, your car doors, your windows, and everything else when you're not there. And just be mindful that, we live in a wonderful, safe community, but sometimes, bad people try to come into those places too. So, just watch your safety and those around you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Burns?
Thank you for everyone for coming out this evening. It's always a pleasure to see so many residents engaged. I would like to commend also the Independence Day Committee on the parade. It was very nice, and the festivities in Shepherd Park following the parade was very nice as well. In the next couple of days, it's going to be extremely hot. Please take care of your pets in the hot weather. Make sure they have plenty of water and bring them inside at the high points of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Member Seligson, please.
Ditto as far as the parade and the Independence Day Commission, city staff, everybody did a great job. Also, again, thank you to the officers as always. And Ebony, we always knew you were the best. That's nothing we didn't know. Have a good night.
Thank you. I want to also congratulate Ebony Duff. This is just remarkable how we have such a power team working for our residents here, and very talented and dedicated people up and down the ranks. I want to take a moment just to mention we just had a judgment call. We had very, very few flags, unfortunately, and probably should have, in retrospect, might have not sent them, given them out at all, even when we have 600 flags and we can't reach to every adult and teenager. At some point, there's always a cutoff. But I hope that we have many more flags next year, or whatever we're giving out, and that we all learn from this. I thank you for your comments. I want to thank everyone who came out and joined together as a unified committee, a unified community for Independence Day activities. I want to thank everyone who participated in the Mayor's 5K race, the parade, and the Fun Fest activities afterwards in the park, along with all the teen videographers from Oak Park High, our teen volunteers who work with our recreation staff, and the many volunteers that included some Kiwanis members this year. We have special thanks to the Independence Day Commission, our DPW, the Recreation Department, Public Safety, Public Communications, and everybody who worked behind the scenes to make it an enjoyable celebration of Oak Park and our freedom as Americans. Mayor McClellan wanted to share a posting by Oak Park resident Carrie Bergen that was on the Oak Park Neighbors Facebook page. And Carrie writes, "So many kudos to the city and volunteers for a great Independence Day celebration," that was capitalized. "I got all misty standing Oak Park Boulevard in Coolidge from the sheer joy in the community. It was also my son's first ever parade, which he liked very much. The drums, the cars," she says. Also, several people were in from other cities, families of band members of the Saints, the Soul Band, their drummer, my husband's buddy. Both groups said that they had never been to Oak Park, and they were just so very impressed by the setup at Shepherd Park and how Oak Park organizes so many community events. So kudos times 1,000. It was a fun day, is what she writes, and we really appreciate your thankfulness for what we were able to provide. I want to especially thank all the residents who've worked hard over all the years, because I don't think I'll have a chance to do this from up here next year, and all those that I hope will volunteer and get involved in the future, because I'd like to encourage them with the support of our amazing staff and the ongoing work. It's a continuing project to engage all the local groups, the day camps, the scouting troops, PTAs, church and civic organizations, the veterans, the kids on decorated bikes, the Little League players, all the neighborhood associations, and get them integrated into the Fun Fest celebrations as well. Independence Day and Fun Fest is a community building and community bonding experience for Oak Park. When we all come together as neighbors with a shared sense of community and mutual support, it is truly and authentically the placemaking that we seek to achieve to move forward together. Happy 70th birthday, Oak Park, and on to the Summerfest, which is coming up. Everybody have a great night. We're going to close now and go to closed session right now. I call the portion of this meeting adjourned.